Welcome to Coyote Tales, a podcast featuring life stories from Weatherford College alumni and friends. And now, from the Nan and Bob Kingsley building on the campus of Weatherford College, in the Coyote Studios, here's Brent Baker.
Thank you, Dave. Special treat for me as a big sports fan as we talk to Harvey Catchings, the former NBA star who got his start at Weatherford College back in the day. And we talked to him back in April of 2023. That day, he was named a distinguished alumnus, and he came up to Weatherford from the Houston area to accept that award. So we look back at that conversation with Harvey Catchings on Coyote Tales. Harvey, thanks for your time. We appreciate it.
Thanks for allowing me to be here, Brent.
This interview is being recorded right after the Distinguished Alumnus Award that was given to Harvey and David Rogers, and Alumnus of the Year to John Forrest. And we thought we'd have a little conversation, just go back and talk about your career, your time here at Weatherford, everything. And we had so much fun hearing from you during the lunch, and we want to hear more from you. So thank you very much for your time. And let's just start off by talking about your time at Weatherford College. You're here in 1969. How did you end up at Weatherford College?
You know, it's interesting. I had an aunt that worked out at UCLA on Velma, and she knew that I played basketball, and she knew the coaches, Denny Crum and John Wooten at UCLA, so she invited me to come out for a week. When I went out there, I had an opportunity to meet both of them, and at 6 feet 6 inches tall, there's a little bit of admiration for a player coming in that size, but obviously I wasn't good enough to play there. So they called Bill McDonald here at Weatherford College, and he said that he would be interested in having me come in. So he sent me a ticket to fly from here, from L.A. to Weatherford. Came in, he picked me up at the airport. We came back here. He showed me the campus when we went out to eat. The next day, he picked me up, took me back to the airport. But before he did that, he said, I have an opening for a spot on our team. If you're interested in playing, we'll pick up all the expenses for bringing you in and then give you a 2-year scholarship. And I said, oh, wow. I said, okay. So obviously, I had to talk it over with my parents. And when I did that, they were excited about it because growing up in Jackson, Mississippi, especially during that time, was not a good place to be. Even though they were successful business owners and, they, had done a lot of good things in the neighborhood as well. But they knew that this could possibly be an opportunity, number one, to get me out of Jackson, and number two, put me on the path of possibly being successful in life. And that's when I came out here. Coach McDonald was incredible. I mean, he was just absolutely incredible. We would practice with the team from 3 to 5, and then from, have dinner, then come back 5, at 7, 8 o'clock at night. We go over drills and fundamentals, and actually helped me learn how to play the game of basketball. So without Weatherford Junior College, I don't make it to the NBA because I don't have that foundation.
Now, if you don't mind, can you be a little more, give us a little more detail on life in Jackson?
Mm-hmm.
I assume you faced incredible prejudice there.
Oh, yes.
And one of the reasons we wanted to get out?
Yes. I think that was probably the main reason. And there was just so many things that were blatant. People ask, could you live in an environment where when you go to certain areas, there would be 2 fountains. One would be white only and the other one would be for colored. And the one that was white only was always pristine. And the one that was colored, might be broken down, have rust stains around it.
Right.
Because I wanted to always make you know that you were less than. They wanted it to be that obvious. That's why they have slums in America, because they want to make sure that you don't think that you're at the level that we are.
Did you find Weatherford, Texas in 1969 to be better in that light?
I did. And part of it was because, number one, we had a diverse team. and everybody lived together, and we got a chance to interact. See, keep in mind, in Jackson, my mother owned a grocery store. So the only real interaction that I had was from salespeople coming in to sell products to her, sell, stuff for her to stock the store. And I remember a long time ago, one of the salespeople came in, and the guy called her Mary. Her name was Mary Catchings. And she said, if you want to sell to me, you have to call me Mrs. Catchings. And I was so proud of her at that moment, because it's just taken for granted that we have diminished value. So I can call, in Mississippi, you have grown men calling young kids. You have young kids calling grown men, black men, by their first name. And I was always taught to respect my elders, regardless of who it was. But I needed to get out of that situation, and this was definitely an outlet. And although there was some prejudice here, because I don't know if Stedman talked to you about, what happened to them. They went to a party, him, Carlos.
Stedman Graham, of course,
Graham,
played with you here. Yeah.
Played with me here, right. They went to a party here, and they thought that they were being invited to have fun. And as soon as they closed the door, these guys jumped on them. And, Stedman got kicked in the face. Other guys got beat up, but they were able to get out, okay. But that's just something that kind of stayed with him, and it stayed with me as well. You just have to pick the people that you want to, be involved with.
Now, you said that you had a very limited high school basketball career, and then that you really learned basketball at Weatherford College in 1969. Can you elaborate on why was your career so limited in high school?
Number one, because I played in the band.
Played in the band.
Played in the band. Obviously, I was the tallest kid in the band, but I played drums in the band, and I really, really enjoyed it. And we started playing basketball. My parents put a hoop up in our backyard, and so I started, messing around, playing basketball. But I never thought that I was really good enough. And the coach at that time was John Lang. And he would always talk about how sorry I was, and, I need to be doing this and I need to be doing that. And at that time, since I wasn't in love with the game, I figured, I'm not going to put myself through this on a daily basis. So I just quit. So I only played in 6 games. And I think the most points.
6 games?
Yep. I think the most points, believe it or not, Brent, was maybe 6 points in a game.
And you ended up in the NBA. Who would ever?
I know. Like I said, when I was in there, that was God, because there's absolutely no other way. I mean, every year in the NBA, I'm playing against rookies that are coming in that were the elite in their class, whether it be the major colleges, universities, whatever. They were the elite. And I was a guy that came from, that background. But I knew what my job was. I knew what I had to do in order to, stay with that team. So at the end of training camp, they were leaving and I was staying.
Harvey Catchings, we're catching up with Harvey Catchings, the 11-year NBA career man who was a distinguished alumnus from Weatherford College. So you leave Well, let's talk about when you're at Weatherford, that season, 1969 to 1970. Harvey Catchings on that team. What do you remember about that season?
I remember that we had a lot of fun together. And part of it is because we all had to coexist in that same environment. The difference today, when you think about having kids in a traditional dormitory, is that you have 2 people in this room, 2 people in that room, 2 people in that room. So you never really get a chance to mix and mingle. There was a big living area in the house.
This was a house.
Yep.
That's still here.
Oh, yeah, still there. I passed by it and took some pictures of it today because I was going to send it to Stedman later on. But the house is still there. I mean, it was a wonderful house. It was 3-story.
Really?
And all of us lived in there. And it was fun. And then the other thing that I remember is that, and I think, David may have mentioned it today in his speech, the other alumnus.
David Rogers.
Exactly. That the classes were small. So you were able to get to know your instructor and find out what it was that you needed. And I thought that was great too.
Harvey Ketching is with us today. Went from Weatherford College to Hardin-Simmons University in Abilene. Had a great career there. All-American for 3 years there. Talk about the process getting drafted into the NBA and that beginning of your NBA career, would you?
When I started looking at the possibility that I might get drafted, not that I would make the team, but I might get drafted because, at that time I was getting a lot of information from different teams that were interested, and they wanted you to fill out these forms and then send it back to them, basically so that they would have something on file, when they did their analysis. And on the day of the draft, somebody called, and I think it may have been Stedman, that told me that I had been drafted in the 3rd round by the Philadelphia 76ers.
There wasn't a TV show. There wasn't a
no. It wasn't a call. And it's funny because I think I received a call a day later. Now now keep in mind that was back in the day, Brent, when the playoffs were tape delayed. So they
you
played
couldn't
the
even
game tonight.
The
and
NBA
the
was
next day.
you couldn't watch a playoff game live.
Right.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But that's how you found out you were drafted.
That's how I found out I was drafted. And we had another.
Sixers?
Yep, the Philadelphia 76ers. And we had another player, Gary Crothers, that was drafted in the 7th round by Philadelphia. So we actually ended up going to training camp together. And unfortunately, he didn't make it. But he was a great guard for us at Hardin-Simmons.
Now, you told a story in the luncheon about the coach giving bad news to a lot of other rookies, but he came up to you, and what did he tell you? He wasn't telling you were cut. He was telling you something about how he wanted you to play your game. Can you talk about that?
He really caught me off guard with that because I had reason in my mind. I said, you know what? For a guy that came literally from nowhere to be able to go into an NBA training camp, that's a gift unto itself. So I was already ready to say, okay, all right, I'm not going to put my head down. I'm not going to cry. Some of the guys were crying. I'm just going to take it like a man. And when he came and sat down, the others, he stood up. I think that may have been the takeaway that I didn't realize when it happened. But when he came to me, he sat down next to me. And he said, this is what I need from you. He said, in order for you to be on my team, I want you to play defense. I want you to rebound. I want you to block shots. And I want you to do the little things that you're capable of doing that'll make us a better team. And something inside of me said, I just worked on being an offensive player the last 4 years. And now you're telling me that, you don't really want me to take a look at a shot.
Well, you averaged like 20 points a game at Hardin-Simmons,
exactly,
right?
Exactly. So in reality, the next question I had was like, well, why would you draft me if you weren't going to use me to that capacity? But he said, if you listen to me, you will last a long time in this league. He said, shooters will come, and if they don't improve their games in other areas, they're gone. He said, but if you refine these areas, you can be in this league for 10 years. And I ended up hanging around for 11. And the only reason that I hung around for 11 is because when my contract came up, I said, you know what? This is enough. I said, it's time for me to pass it on to some of the younger guys. Because as you get older in the league, you look at things differently. Mm-hmm. And I knew that some of these guys coming in had skill sets that the NBA, needed, and they were younger players. And I wasn't going to try to hang around and hang around and hang around, until basically you had to almost walk guys off the court. And
Yeah.
that's what happens. But, the money back then was a lot different than the money
Yeah.
today. Now, would I walk away with the money that
No.
they're paying today? I think not.
Talking to Harvey Catchings, a distinguished alumnus from Weatherford College, played at WC 1969 and 1970, spent 11 years in the National Basketball Association, and we were just talking about leading up to the NBA career. And then he gets on the Philadelphia 76ers. And Harvey, I looked at one of your team photos, and you're standing in the back with the bigs, and Dr. J is on the front. Julius Erving, one of the greatest of all time. What was it like playing with that guy?
That was incredible. And he's such a gentleman, but more than that, there's just an air about him that has always been very, very professional. Playing with Julius was like watching a highlight reel every night because every night he did something different. I think he came into the NBA maybe 2 years after he should have. If he had come in 2 years earlier, I think that he probably would have made a much, much larger footprint. But just an incredible man, family man, incredible human being.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
I love hearing that. Who are some of the other great players that you really enjoyed playing with and playing against in the NBA?
Well, I enjoyed playing also with Doug Collins.
Mm-hmm. Became a very successful coach.
Yes, he did. And in fact, his son is the coach at Northwestern now. Yeah. And George McGinnis, played with Billy Cunningham. Billy was interesting because Billy was literally on his last leg when I got in. I came in 74, and he had a lot of injuries at that time, but he had played 12 years before. So this was like his wind down period. And just watching him play made me realize, too, that, it comes a point in time when you just kind of, want to start backing away. But once you get in and you start making this kind of money, it's very, very difficult for you to say, well, you know what, I'm just gonna walk away.
Yeah. Even the money at that time, still really good money.
Yeah, it was.
What about opponents? Great opponents you played against?
Well, I can't say I love to play against Kareem.
Kareem?
Yeah. I can't say I love to play against him. I played against Magic, played against Bird.
Oh, my gosh.
In fact, on a play when we were playing when we were playing in Boston, I went up to get a rebound, and Larry came over my back, and my arm inadvertently hit him and fractured his jaw.
You broke Larry Bird's face.
Yeah, and I was concerned about getting out of the Boston Garden after the game because I got so many boos, man. It was unbelievable.
Oh, he was a god there.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And that was a great period of the NBA.
It was.
Right there.
It was.
It was fun to watch, and it was really getting popular for the first time, and you guys were a big part of that. You were a block shot master, one of, I think, only 48 men to have 10 block shots in a game. You were in the top 5 block shots multiple times in the league, and I believe there was one stat about your defensive plus-minus. You hold the record, even though for the Milwaukee Bucks,
right.
Even though Kareem played there, Giannis plays there, and you must have really took pride in your defense.
I did, and because I knew that if we could control a team defensively, that our shots would start to fall, even if we were struggling offensively. One of the things I had this saying with the players when their player would break a loose and was heading to the basket, I say, watch him back, which means that I'm going to block the shot, so be prepared to get the ball once I block it. And that was something that was ingrained in our players. But I also told them, I said, if I go for you, then you got to go for me. Don't leave me naked.
Yeah.
Box out my guys, because one of the toughest things, and you see it now, Brent, a guard or a forward will go to the basket, the center will go after the shot. He'll alter it or he'll block it, or it's a rebound, and then it goes to the other side, and then his man gets it and puts it in. And that's one of the most frustrating things in the world for a big man.
Somebody else on their team catches the ball and puts it in.
Yeah.
Your NBA career was 11 years, and then when you decided to hang them up, you became a broadcaster for a short amount of time. You were on the Chicago Bulls radio crew.
Mm-hmm.
And what was that like? That must have been a big adjustment for you.
That was incredible. Now, keep in mind that when we played, if we played tonight, we would leave the game, go grab something to eat, go to bed, get up at 4 in the morning, head to the airport, domestic airport, and sit there in an area for a couple of hours before our plane took off. Get on the plane, go to that NBA city, play, take a nap in the afternoon, play that night, and then possibly have to do the same thing. There were times when we had 3 games back to back to back.
Wow.
When I started doing the broadcasting for the Bulls, it was incredible because you drive in. Number one, they had their own plane. So you drive into this area and you get out of your car and you let them park your car. They take your stuff out of your car, put it on the plane. Now, this is first class. And then you get on the plane. They'd have a spread of food, all different types of food that the players like as you get on the plane. So guys will be grabbing stuff and then taking it to their seats. Now, you know how airline seats are now. How about you take out 2 of those in front of you so that the guys can, stretch out and they would have the DVDs, they would have the video, they'd be able to plug in and just relax, stretch out and go to sleep if they wanted. And then you get to that city. But here's what's amazing about that. There was a statistic made that said, by virtue of teams having their own plane where they leave after the game and go to the next city, that adds up to anywhere between 5 and 8 more wins on the road.
Wow. That's significant.
It's very significant because think about it. If you finish a game and you go back to the hotel, it's going to be a while before you go to sleep. So you're tossing and turning. So you might get to sleep around 12, 1 o'clock where you got to get up at 4. But if they go to the next city and you're there at 11, 12, but you're in that bed, so you're uninterrupted until it's 8, 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So it makes a difference on your body, and it's been proven.
And you were able to travel that way on the radio crew with the Bulls.
With the Bulls.
Just like the players did.
Yep. In fact, the area that we sat in as broadcasters was right across from where Michael and the guys played cards. They would play cards the whole time that they were flying.
So you were broadcasting while Michael Jordan was on the team.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Now you talk about a show.
What was he like to be around?
Oh, my goodness. Incredible guy. I mean, I don't know. Have you seen Air?
Not yet. I want to see that.
Brent, you got to see it.
I got to see it.
You got to see it. And not so
the
much
movie
for
about
him,
yeah.
But here's the thing that blew me away. They had him for him it was like a silhouette, so you didn't really see him.
Yeah.
But you saw the making of a legend, the way they put all that together.
Yeah.
And,
I can't wait to see that.
Oh man, he. But I mean, nice guy. He and I had a chance to talk a few times. He's a kidder. We would go to the when we got to the airport. He would always bet the guys $5 that his bag came out first. And guess what? It came out first. Why? Because he gave the guys pulling the bags out $25.
He just wanted to win.
And that's it. That's it right there.
That's him in a
That's
nutshell.
everything.
It didn't matter if they were throwing dice. I watched The Last Dance twice.
Yep.
Didn't matter what that was, and you got to be around that guy.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Scotty and
Horace Grant.
Yeah, I mean it was incredible. It was
what
incredible.
Unbelievable.
Luke Longley,
another big.
Yeah.
Kerr,
Steve Kerr.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of Hall of Famers you get
Yeah.
to be around. We're talking to Harvey Catchings, if you just joined us, 11-year NBA player, Weatherford College, distinguished alum. If you don't mind, I want to go back briefly. And you played in, I believe, 3 Eastern Conference Finals.
Mm-hmm.
You played in an NBA Finals. What was your greatest year in the NBA? You know, either team-wise or personal, whatever, what you remember most fondly. And can you describe it a little bit?
I think that the year that I enjoyed most was the year that we went to the finals with Philadelphia. And we were on our way to a championship. And the reason that it was a great year was because in basketball, when you play 82 games, and this is what people will probably never really be able to grasp, because I couldn't grasp it, before. When you play 82 games, there are going to be periods where you're going to play a lot, you're going to play less, you're going to get injured, you're going to need to sit out, you're going to need to do all these things. And that year, I think that we probably had more guys that played close to 82 games. So when the playoffs came around, we were ready. I mean, we were a well-oiled machine. I think the thing that took away from us winning the championship was we were playing Portland in the finals, and we had gone up 2-0. So, I mean, we were rolling. And then we had an altercation with Doug Collins and Maurice Lucas, where he swung on Doug, and then Darryl swung on him. And then somehow Lucas, connected with Darryl. But after that game, we were never the same. We were never the same. And it's funny because I think back to when that was happening. At that moment, Doc was sitting on the basketball. No, he was sitting on the floor, I'm sorry, because that wasn't his fight. It shouldn't have been a fight. Okay, altercation, okay, bam, okay, let's go back and start playing. But when we had that break in our momentum, we just never got it back. So they ended up beating us 4 in a row.
Portland did.
Yep.
Now, that wasn't Bill Walton's
Yep,
team,
it
was it?
was.
Okay.
That
okay.
was. Yep. Maurice Lucas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was a great team, though.
That was a great team.
So.
You know what? Taking nothing away.
Yeah.
Taking nothing away. But we had Cheeksy, we had Doc, we had George, we had Darryl, we had Lloyd Free. I mean,
Good team.
we wasn't, we wasn't something to sleep on.
Yeah. You mentioned Stedman Graham earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You guys talk ever?
We talk, you know what? Stedman talked me into moving to Chicago after I finished playing it. After I came back from overseas. After that,
you played, was it 1 year?
Yeah, I played 1 year in Italy and tore my Achilles tendon. Now, back then, if you tear your Achilles tendon, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now you
you're
can
done.
rehab that.
Now you're like 3-4 months and let's go. So anyway, when I came back, we connected, and he said, well, why don't you just move to, I went back to Mississippi when I came back because I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And so when I was talking to him, he said, look, there's a lot of things going on here. Why don't you just move to Chicago? Now, this is, once again, where God comes in, because I got a call from Bob Lanier.
Wow.
And, this is where character comes in as well, because if people believe in you, they're only going to put you out there if they know that you're going to follow through. And that's one of the things that I've always done, is I've always followed through. So when I got the call from Bob, there was an organization called Little City Foundation in Chicago, well, right outside of Chicago. And they were looking for a liaison to work between the foundation and the Players Association, NBA Players Association. And he thought that I'd be great for that because I had, good rapport with the players. And so we talked about the salary. I said, okay, yeah, that could work. So I called Stedman back and told him that I had been offered an opportunity. He said, well, look, he said, why don't you come here, stay with me until you get on your feet, so you get everything situated, then bring your family up and then go from there. And worked out perfectly.
That's wonderful. Well, we sure did enjoy your talk at the Weatherford College Alumni Awards luncheon today. You did a great job, and I really enjoyed hearing about your memories of Weatherford College. It was a brand new campus when you came here.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't find it
today.
I was looking around. I was like, okay. I rode around. I got in around 9:45.
You live in the Houston area now.
Yeah, I live in the Houston area, and I drove up. And when I drove. Obviously, I drove by the house. I drove by the school. The square.
Courthouse. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I took a picture of the restaurant that we used to eat at. We come and eat there, and they would always be so grateful. I mean, so generous. Okay, we'll put a little bit more on here, this and that. So, I mean, they really took care of us. They really did.
You enjoyed your time here.
I enjoyed my time here.
That's great.
I had my my first daughter here, Christy. In fact, I met a lady from here, beautiful smile, Roberta, and we ended up getting married. And so, yeah.
Well, we're proud of you as a Weatherford College alum, and if we can ever do anything for you, please let us know. And thank you for your time today. You've been very generous.
Appreciate it, Brent. Anytime.
Harvey Catchings, former NBA player, Weatherford College distinguished alumnus. I've really enjoyed getting to catch up with him today. This is 88.5, 102.5, The Coyote.